partly because they started out, one was an emerging school, and that kind of went away after a couple of years, and they continued to use it, and then another school that essentially fell out of focus is continuing to use it because it's such a good way to document the work that they're doing. And there's another principal, I don't think she actually went ahead and used it, but she has her, I have all her passwords and stuff, and she opened it up, and I sat down with her one day to show her how to use it. So it can be used by anybody, and it is free. I saw some questions out here. Did you have a question?
I was answering.
Okay.
More of a newbie kind of person to it. If I don't get into it every week, I kind of forget where I need to go. And so but what I've learned is I can't break it. So I just go in and start clicking like, where did I find that again? Oh yeah, here it is, or whatever.
This is just what coaching comments look like. Again, it looks different every time. I try to point out some things. I ask some questions, like you can say, I'm wondering, since absenteeism seems to be an issue each school year, maybe this should be included as part of the focus in the PBIS and RTI plan. So, and they are working on that now. But so there are just things we go through and look at the plans from the time that we've been in the meetings with them, other discussions maybe with the principal, or things that you hear out in the building from staff. This is a good way to bring it up. And I always, when I meet with the leadership team and I meet with the principal, we talk about this. So it's very specific in many ways, and sometimes, and it's to nudge people to, hey, you need to take a little action here, like the absenteeism, because we got this report that was not good. So how are you going to address it? Because if those kids aren't sitting in that chair, they're not learning and they're not going to do well. So anyway, that's just another aspect. Now there's so much you can do in this plan that I haven't even touched. You can get all kinds of reports. I do get some reports, but you could even put your agendas and minutes to meetings in there if you wanted to. The buildings that I work with choose not to, but you could do that if you wanted to, and then that would be archived in here also.
Medical aid, that's where, when we have our leadership team meetings, we just go into team meetings, and the librarian types up what we're talking about, and it's all archived, and it's all in there.
Yeah, I would love that to happen, but I haven't been able to get that to happen.
But you use some things that we don't use mostly because I don't.
Yes.
So if you choose to use InStar, you're not required to use it. Do you get a coach?
No.
Unless they happen to live up the hill.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can talk somebody into, going out for coffee or something to help you, or wine for her, I'm sure she can do it for you. No. She has a good heart.
For us, is it like the entire district has to use it, or a whole school has to use it, or a subset of people within a school could use it?
You could call Paul and ask him.
Call Paul Weineke at
Wieneke.
Right. A district does not have to use it, is my understanding. I've only seen it being used for the whole school. I just don't know, but you might talk to Paul. He's very, very...
You've ever lined up for yourself, and it will show you what you've gotten done and what you haven't gotten done. So that could be really helpful, because it automatically takes all the stuff that you have listed as tasks under those principles, and it brings it all into one place. So it shows you the principal, the task, who was in charge, and the dates, and whether or not it was completed. Boom, just like that. And they're all archived. So this goes back to what, 2012 something in your case? So,
Is there a list somewhere of schools that are using it to start that we'd be able to find, or is there?
well, if you go to the OSPI website and you just type in the search box priority and focus schools, I can tell you that all the schools that show up there are using InStar. Right?
I'm pretty sure.
Well,
Although there would
let me
be-
go check right now.
Yeah. Schools are identified priority or focus. Priority means that all students are performing below a certain point. And there's this big magical mathematical formula that they use. And then focus schools are schools in which they have a subset of students, subgroup, that's performing below all students. And it's a gap. So again, that's a formula that they use to determine that. So priority means that every student in that building, when you look at the state assessment, is performing below a certain threshold. And with focus schools, so actually you can have a school in which, hey, we're doing really pretty good, except for,
Special ed in the case of Medical Lake.
or ELL, which was the case in Kashmir. So, their scores looked pretty good. I mean, they weren't, I always say, well, it's pretty good.
Medical Lake, which he was talking this morning, there's two different processes. One is the learning walks that all the teachers go on together. And then, like I said, in Medical Lake, unlike any other school, those teachers said, if you're gonna come in and observe me, I want feedback. So it's been really amazing to have districts come and watch that process, because in one district I work in, last Monday, the union was going to make learning walks not be allowed in the contract. And luckily, they averted that, and now they're gonna have a team that's gonna go to Medical Lake and watch it in process. And so that is where the teachers are going in and doing learning walks. That is not evaluative. It is, what are the content of the framework? How does the framework manifest itself in the learner? Not the teacher, because we already know the teacher graduated from high school. How does it manifest in the learner? And then how can we talk about it so we become better in our craft? Then you got the learning walk data collection. And that was the data we showed you. And that's different from the learning walks. That's just where we're going in and we're doing like an oil check. Where are we right now with this? So it's kind of nice to have both those things, because then it's like, really? We're not getting that done? So I just wanted to make sure that we were clear about that. Any questions for Bev?